Hi everyone, Skip here and welcome to this week's eClass where the theme is going to be a super duper one you're going to love, and some real simple, some we all want to live with, and it is freedom. Now, what I'm going to have you do this week is, instead of me actually giving you a technique or something that is going to nudge you in that direction, now I want you to get creative with freedom, because we can't control what happens in the outside world. We all know that. Now, what goes on internally, that's our choice. So if we don't have freedom, we have stress, we have problems, we have a whole bunch of stuff that we have to deal with that spoils the quality of our lives. It spoils the present moment. It can produce toxins and poisons within the system, and instead of feeling the freedom, what you're going to be feeling is the stress and the pain and the suffering and all this stuff that just doesn't feel good. Now, you know what it's like when you have freedom in life. It doesn't matter what you're doing, you feel good. Now, if you look at children have this amazing amount of freedom in whatever they do. So the idea is to give yourself this freedom in every single section of your life. Now, some of you are going to find it very challenging. Some of you are going to find it easy with the stuff that you've been going through with the e-classes. I know some of you have been sending me some of the most incredible emails on how these e-classes have been helping you. So what I'd like you to do is get some of the techniques that you've either learned from the e-classes, or you may have learned them from Supercharger Live, Breakthrough Mastery, Detox Life, one of the live events. And there's things you can do with breathing, there's the PIP, there's a whole bunch of techniques that you can do that's going to give yourself the freedom that you deserve to live with. Now, the simplest way to give yourself the freedom is to make sure that you're enjoying what it is that you're doing, because if you're not enjoying it, then immediately some kind of resistance is going to come up. Now, this is the very difference between being a champion who really has the freedom on the journey. This is the difference between, like when I used to train, there were such high demands put on us that really a lot of the training, although I loved it, there were times when it was really, really hard. And I didn't have a coach he was amazing what he did, but he didn't understand the psychology of things. He didn't understand really how this whole thing is made up, and what it needs to function at optimum levels. So you can see a lot of people stressing on their journey. They're not, they get themselves on a journey, and this also happens with a lot of my top clients, with celebrities and top CEOs, where they've carved out their path in life, but also what they've carved out is a whole bunch of stress, is a whole bunch of unnecessary ingredients in the mix. So the key thing is, if you look at an athlete like someone like Usain Bolt, you see him as a person, you see him, he's just a guy who chills out, he has total freedom. Now, what sets the elite apart from the people who are great? One simple thing: they did all these tests on athletes' brains, like the top people, when they were actually in the flow, in the middle of their race, their sport, whatever it is that they was doing, and they found one simple thing: they all had peace of mind. Now, you can only get peace of mind when you have the freedom. Now, the freedom, again, it's a choice. If you don't choose it, if you don't set yourself up for this, what's going to happen is all the other stuff is going to get involved in poisoning the quality of each experience that you go through in life. Because you've got to remember that every single thing in life that you do, every single day, is making who you are as a person, and really giving yourself the gift of freedom. Now, we're talking again in all areas of your life: the gift of freedom when you're going to work out, the gift of freedom when you're choosing and then eating your food. Because if you're at that stage where you're eating healthy food, but there's still resistance, there's no freedom in your life. You're having to be disciplined. You're having to be forced into doing something with resistance. That's not the name of the game. You only want to be doing what you love, because that's the very thing that's going to set your soul free. Without your soul having the freedom to be able to guide you in life through this physical body and using this mind, you're going to be off track. You're on track when you feel good. You're on track. I mean, sometimes you're off track. You're on track when you don't feel good, because that's your soul. That's some part of you giving you a situation where you have to grow and expand. Now, we can get these teachings. Now, if we're in freedom, we get these teachings so much faster, with so much more ease, so much grace and elegance, and only when we don't take the lessons, when it's inspiration, when we wait for the desperation, that's when things take longer. So it's so important to really understand what freedom is going to do for you. And by understanding how it can really influence the quality of your life and the quality of your loved ones, because you've got to remember, kids and people don't do what they're told, they do what they see. Now, if they see you getting stressed, not really a good thing to be teaching them, because whether you think you're teaching them or not, you lead by example. Now, the second that a stressful situation comes in and you can immediately give yourself freedom in that moment, what do you think is going to happen to the quality of your life? What do you think is going to precede that event? Because remember, everything in your life is in direct proportion to the vibration or the energy frequency that you're holding. You're putting out a bad energy, you're going to be attracting it. You're putting out freedom, you're going to be attracting that. Now, what that also does is it allows you to attract people who are on a similar frequency, or on a similar vibration, or a similar vibe to you. And if you're going in business, if you're getting involved with different projects or different movements, you want to be having people around you who can access that freedom with ease. It's such an important ingredient that you need to give yourself. And again, you can create these little rituals throughout your day where you can be looking at them where, great, because if you know you've got some freedom coming up, then immediately it can change who you bring to the table. Because if you don't think that you're going to have a break, if you don't think that you're going to be doing something that's really going to light you up, then the brain is going to play tricks on you, and it's going to do all the things that is going to completely knock you out of balance and take you away from freedom. So it's simply playing the game again. It's putting the intention out there. It's focusing on just that. Give yourself that freedom. You don't need to be breaking yourself down. You know, a simple, as I just did then, a simple breath can give you freedom. You've got these 10 commandments for health. Any single one of them is going to add value to your life. When you apply all 10 synergistically, that's where miracles start to happen. So you might want to go back to this 10 commandments for health, and the key thing is to really post these breakthroughs, because anytime that you go and post, you know, I was in this stressful situation and suddenly I just gave myself a break. I just gave myself some freedom in that moment. It changes everything. Completely changes what happens after that event. It changes the quality of your life, the quality of everybody who comes in contact with you, changes the quality of their life in that moment. Because remember, all we have is the now. All we have is the present moment. If you don't have freedom in the present moment, then what can you do now? You've been taught so many things over these weeks, and we are getting towards the end now of these 50 e-classes. So it's so important that you have these habits and these techniques to fall back on. And you know what it is that you're looking for. You're looking for freedom. Whether you've got money in the bank, whether you haven't got money in the bank, you want freedom. Whether you've created the body that you deserve or not yet, you want freedom. Whether you're in the perfect job that you want or not, you still want freedom. Whether you're in the perfect relationship or not, you still want freedom. There's no point in being in a relationship if you feel trapped. There's no point in you being in a job if you feel trapped. It's like putting an animal in a cage. No. You are a human being. You're not rooted to the ground. You have a connection to the planet and the cosmos, but you are a walking tree of intelligence. So you need that freedom. Having a little break in the mind can be an awesome little break. Taking a little break to a beautiful location can be amazing. You know, going somewhere where it's by yourself or with your loved ones. Again, give yourself the freedom. Give yourself that gift. It is a habit that needs to be installed. It's a focus that needs to be installed, and it's an outcome that needs to be installed. Because without that, without you really giving yourself this freedom, and it might be something simple where someone might be putting pressure on you in a job for a deadline or something, and you might turn around and say, you know what? I just need to take 2 minutes out and come back with a fresh mind, with a fresh head, because I'm getting all confused and everything's going muddy and I'm not focused as well as I should be. And you give yourself freedom in that moment, you'll be amazed at what creativity comes through you when you have peace of mind, when you've got that freedom. That's where the magic works. Without that, there's still stress. Without that, there's things pulling you down. That's where the resistance kicks in. So really give yourself, I keep going on about it, just give yourself the freedom. You know, it's amazing that I know some people who have not that much money and they really do live with freedom. And some of my top clients, some of the top CEOs, some of the celebrities, they haven't given themselves this gift of freedom. And their journey is a rocky road. So one of the first things I do when I come along is I give them this gift of freedom, because there is no point being a victim where suddenly you get an awesome job, big movie or big music contract or whatever it might be, and then suddenly next month you're not doing something so good, and then the industry owns you. No matter what you do, make sure you give yourself the gift of freedom, because without that, stress is going to build up, and we know the #1 killer is stress. When you got freedom, there's no stress. Free like a bird flying over. Really, this week, I really want you to spread your wings and fly with freedom. No one has the power to knock you off balance if you've got freedom. No one has the power to change the quality of your day, because if you're blaming somebody else, then you're definitely not living with freedom. No one has the power to infect you with anything but greatness unless you allow it. I mean, you even have to allow greatness to infect you. But remember, you can't control what goes on outside here, but internally, you're in control of everything. So this week, in control, finding freedom in every single moment. And it might be with a simple thought, it might be with a nice piece of music, it might be with a nice picture of a loved one that you might look at, something that knocks you into a good state where you can just go, just breathe freedom with no stress, no pressure, and just allowing the greatness to work through you. Anyway, have fun with freedom, because it's a good one. It's a real, real good one. Anyway, love you all, and live strong, live healthy, live long, and make sure you live now. And for now, I'm out of here.